that there's no hope? Are there issues and problems in your life that you want to break away from and feel like you can't? Do you wonder, how can I be free from these issues that have destroyed my life? Well, my friend, I have the answer. Bible Way Hibner Memorial Church of God in Christ presents Chain Breakers, this and every Sunday at 9 a.m. here on WHYL.
From the L.B. Smith Ford Lincoln Studios, Oldies 102.9 is WHYL Carlisle.
Welcome to the Real Estate Radio Guys, your weekly source for all things real estate. We're your hosts, real estate broker John Rainville and your mortgage expert Kingsley Harmer discuss everything from mortgage rates to home staging for foreclosures and everything in between that affect the daily real estate market. Real people, real questions, real answers. Today's show is brought to you by www.pagoloan.com, your source for new mortgage loans. NMLS number 1018. EnviroQuest, trusted for home inspections and radon mitigation in Central PA for over 25 years. And brokersrealty.com, the easiest way to search for real estate in your hometown. Now, on to the show.
Good morning. You're listening to the Real Estate Radio Guys. John Rainville from brokersrealty.com and
Kingsley Harmer, pagoloan.com. Good morning.
Hey, we've got a exciting show today, and it's great day out there so far. I mean, I thought we were good. Are we supposed to get rain later on?
Well, you know, you look at one forecast and we're supposed to get rain, and the other one says nothing till tomorrow. So, you know, aside from that little spritz or whatever that we had yesterday, it was gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
Big Dog's worried because, you know, it's Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, yeah. It can't be raining out while you're having margaritas.
Yeah, no, he's the Corona king.
You know, I used to drink Coronas. Not so much. I'll go straight for the margaritas. Or actually,
straight to the tequila?
Tequila. Yeah,
okay.
Just give me the good stuff.
So, interesting show today. We're going to be talking to Jason Sanseverino from My Closing. They're a short sale expert negotiator firm, locally here for us.
I think they're over by what used to be Penn State hot dogs, right?
Yeah, well, you mean Nittany. Yeah. I know what you mean. Yes, that's true. Yeah, so Jason's, he's got a phenomenal amount of experience. I mean, he's been doing this for over 20 years, not just short sales. I mean, he's been in the real estate business. He's done everything from, you know, being a realtor, doing land development, new home construction.
I wish I would have had this show, you know, like, I don't know, a couple of months ago. Being in the middle of two short sales at the moment, it's like, man, there's just so many landmines and all kinds of stuff that if you don't know the right path, it's kind of like, good luck.
And a lot of consumers don't understand still that, you know, doing a short sale can be so much better than doing a foreclosure.
Yeah, which is another question. I've got all kinds of questions for him. So, I mean, why? You know, why is it better?
Well, we're going to.
I know.
We're going to find out from Jason.
These questions can be answered here in the next.
So interesting. Before we get to Jason here, though, you know, May statistically is the best month to sell your house.
Really?
Yes.
To put it on the market or to actually sell it?
Well, hopefully, at least if you haven't put it on the market, you get it on the market, and we get it sold this month. Homes that sell in May statistically sell for 5.9% more nationwide in May than they do any time of the year. I thought that was an interesting thing that came out this week.
That's an interesting stat. And the average time on the market today is what, 23, 24 days?
23, 24 hours sometimes.
Wow,
right?
you know,
crazy.
but the average for all the homes in the market?
The market time is way down. Here it is. What was it? The time to sell has just dropped.
Well, I mean, for our area, do we know what the stat is? But it's under 30 days.
Oh, yeah, and as long as you're under like $320,000.
If you have it priced right. I mean, obviously that goes a long way.
Right. We had that one the other week where it sold in 3 days, you know, at almost $400,000. So you just don't know.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's still, you know, folks, if you're thinking about selling, now's the time to make the move, make that jump to, you know, a bigger house, a smaller house, or help your kids get in the house.
You know, and we keep saying, you know, if you're going to sell, now's the time. It's a seller's market. But at the end of the day, I mean, if you're sitting there still trying to penny pinch, let's go off of the 5% increase that you're going to get for May. Sell it in May. Go on vacation for 2 months because Do we still have the incentive for vacations for May?
Yeah, we're still offering vacations.
There's still a vacation given away for every house that's sold.
And you're
at
still
closing.
doing the appraisals? They're
Still doing the free appraisals. So yeah, go on vacation for 2 months, come back. You just saved 5%, so you in essence got a free vacation.
I'll tell you what, and if you're not sure how much equity you have in your home, what I'll do is on our Facebook page here later today, I'll put a link there that you can put in your address and get an instant, idea, folks. Obviously, to fine-tune how much equity you have in your home or what it's worth, we'd have to actually come out and look at it. But it will give you a down and dirty, real quick, instant evaluation on your home value.
That'd be great, because then I know if I can afford to move to Miami or not.
Yeah, I don't like Miami.
No,
Miami's
great. I don't know, maybe not living there, but it's a great place to. Yeah.
Is that where you're going next week?
No. I wish that'd be nice. So, all right. So, I actually think we've got them calling in.
Yeah.
So here we are, and we're behind in our mortgage, right?
Right.
And we're probably at this point in time getting hundreds of postcards, letters, phone calls, the whole 9 yards, right? Because there's all kinds of triggers to say, hey, look, we know as investors or whoever it may be that you've got a financial difficulty.
Right.
And we're looking at all kinds of options as far as what the heck do we do? Do we just walk away? Do we try to stay in the house as long as possible and just let it foreclose? If we've got a lot of equity, maybe we do sell it to an investor, but you're going to get pennies on the dollar, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about short sales, obviously. So let's set up the scenario for a short sale. You've got a home that maybe has not been updated in a few years, or maybe you bought it at the very height of the market, prior to the downslide of the market, right?
Talking about something that's underwater.
Right. So in essence, really a short sale is I've tried to sell my home. It's not worth what my mortgage is showing on it. What options do I have, right?
Well, I sort of think it's a lot of the precursor to foreclosure tends to be, a spouse dies, medical bills, divorce. They seem to be the main driving forces that I see that head somebody towards foreclosure. Okay, so we're going to be talking with Jason to see, how he can help save them, from some of that. So good morning, Jason. How are you doing?
Good morning. Happy Saturday.
Yeah.
My God. There is nothing better than to get the blood pumping to talk about short sales on a Saturday morning. I'm sitting out on my deck here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, drinking a cup of coffee.
You sound too happy.
This is a little early for me, I'll tell you.
You sound too happy. What do you have in your coffee? It is Cinco de Mayo, after all.
Yeah.
Kingsley started already.
I'll tell you what, I'm not a morning person, but a cup of Joe gets me moving.
So, Jason, we were saying earlier that actually your name sounds like you should really be like an F1 Formula One driver.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's a slightly Italian name, like Mario Andretti, I guess.
Yeah, it is. You should have like a Ferrari, dude. No BMW, a Ferrari.
I'm
working on it?
The problem is my mechanic. I have a mechanic in actually, ironically enough, in Mechanicsburg. I never really put that irony together until just now, and he refuses to work on Italian cars. He only works on German vehicles, so. Until he starts working on Italian cars, no Ferrari for me for sure.
BMW it is.
That's it. BMW it is.
All right. So tell us a little bit about, how you initially get contacted. I mean, how do you come into the picture when it comes to short sales, first of all?
Sure, absolutely. Basically, the business plan that my closing company I work with, a business plan that was established when it started about 8 years ago, was that we were going to establish strong relationships with realtors, many of whom work closely on foreclosures and bank-owns REOs. And we initially started marketing directly to realtors, and not really to homeowners, And by establishing those relationships and showing the ability to negotiate short sales successfully, 95% of the short sale transactions that we conduct today are direct leads from listing agents who were contacted by a homeowner that unfortunately ended up in trouble.
Jason, for some of our listeners that don't know what a short sale is, because that's lingo we all use in our business, can you explain to our listeners what a short sale is?
Well, a short sale, in the barest bones terminology, a short sale is a sale of real estate in which the net proceeds from the sale is not sufficient to cover the liens against the home, whether it's a first mortgage, second mortgage, even a credit card judgment. So the net proceeds after the commission's paid, closing costs are paid, is not enough to pay the first mortgage or second mortgage or whatever else is lienable against the home. Now, on top of that, some of the homeowners that we talk to fail to understand that banks don't just hand out short sales. They're not freebies. The homeowner really needs to illustrate that they have no choice but to sell the home. We have scenarios where the homeowners, they just had a baby, and the current home's too small, and they buy a move-up home with the anticipation of selling their current home. But lo and behold, after they buy the move-up home, they find out the current home is not worth the lien against the real estate, and they all of a sudden think, oh, well, this is a short sale. We can't sell it. We owe more than it's worth. And I have to break the bad news to the homeowner that it's really a voluntary situation. You bought a house, and now you have this downsized bungalow in Camp Hill that you can't sell because you owe too much money for the home. So short sale is where the lien against the real estate exceeds the value of the home, and on top of that, the homeowner has to have a compelling reason to sell the home.
So they can't just sell it because they feel like going to Florida.
No. We actually have homeowners that want to sell their home because they don't like the school district. We just had a call last week where the homeowner doesn't like their neighbors. Now, when it comes down to short sales, it's not necessarily the facts that really play into it. It's how you present the facts. Luckily enough, the homeowners that don't like their neighbors, they don't like the neighborhood. They don't like the neighbors. They don't like the neighborhood. Luckily enough, the husband just lost his job last week, and they really have a good hardship. They have a valid hardship.
Luckily enough,
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so a short sale really is just a matter of predicament then. I mean, so give us some ideas of what puts somebody in an acceptable short sale situation. Obviously, loss of job.
Oh yeah. Well, there's quite a few of them, but loss of job is definitely one of them. I heard you mention divorce. The sad truth is most of our homeowners are going through a divorce. It's sad. It's true. I've been through a divorce. I've been there, and that's really what makes my closing different is we've been in these situations. I had to do a short sale on my own house almost 9 years ago.
Wow.
Due to a divorce. And not only due to a divorce, but also due to serious reduction of income. But because if we all know, the real estate market had a little problem back in 2008. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you guys remember that or not. So divorce, loss of job, death of borrower or co-borrower, forced relocation. And forced relocation doesn't mean you took a better job in Wyoming. It means that, you worked for the military, and the military did a permanent change of station to Texas. Or you work as a FedEx person, and FedEx moved you from Lewisberry to Ohio. So forced job relocation doesn't mean that you changed jobs and got a better job somewhere else. It means that your current employer made you either move or lose your job. We also have incarceration. We have illness of borrower or direct family member. So there's quite a few hardships that we can use to convince the mortgage company to agree to a short sale.
Incarceration, that's a new one.
Yeah,
I didn't think about that.
Well, it's surprisingly enough, we've had them.
So
we actually have had them
be running that roster
think about
list.
it. If you're naughty and you go to jail, you normally don't remain employed with your employer. And in that situation, if you have obligations outside of your incarceration, you might become delinquent, and you may very well have to sell.
All right, so short sale is not a freebie just because you feel like moving or moving up.
No, it's definitely not a freebie for sure.
So short sales over the years, I mean, the last 10 years have been, I guess, pretty good when it comes to short sales. I came from California, so you weren't just upside down; you were like double upside down in California, and I'm sure Florida as well. What was the market like here in Pennsylvania over the last 10 years?
Well, obviously, over the last 10 years, you can see that appreciation's gone up. Our biggest year, as far as number of transactions, 2014, 15, and 16 were our largest years in short sales. And right now, as you can imagine, the volume of short sale transactions are slightly decreasing, simply because home values are stable, the economy's doing well, employment's at an all-time low. I saw on the news unemployment rate is at the lowest it's been since 2000. I think that's what it was. So the actual level of short sale volumes is really not increasing. It is decreasing slightly. And, when I started working on short sales, I completely prepared for it. I knew that the short sale volume was unpredictable. And what we did is we just expanded our market area and just cast a larger net so we can stay viable and profitable.
Interesting. So we've kind of established why somebody would get a short sale or why they wouldn't be able to get a short sale.
Yeah.
The question then becomes, what makes a short sale as a better alternative to just, say, foreclosure and staying in the house as long as possible till they kick you out?
Right. Well, when we're working on a short sale, it's sad but true. Many of the homeowners that we talked to, they actually vacated the house already. They vacated the house because they were scared to death that the sheriff or the bank was going to change the locks and take their property and sell their kids to the neighbor. The homeowners that we talked to said, "Oh yeah, we got our foreclosure notice and we just bolted. We're out of here." We always encourage the homeowner to stay in the house as long as they possibly can, because a majority of the homeowners that we work with are unfortunately, they're in foreclosure. They haven't made a mortgage payment for several months, and we always encourage them to stay in the home, save that mortgage payment. If they have the financial capacity to save that mortgage payment instead of using that mortgage payment for some other debt, save that mortgage payment so they have money to move. When it really comes down to the difference between short sale and foreclosure, we actually have homeowners that feel a sense of pride by selling their home through a short sale as opposed to it going to a foreclosure sale or a sheriff's sale. They want to have some kind of control over what happens with the home. So that's one of the first reasons why many of the homeowners we work with want to do a short sale. The other large reason is certainly credit impact. Your credit impact, your credit score impact is going to be minimalized through a short sale as opposed to a sheriff's sale. The lien holder is supposed to record on your credit report satisfied for less than owed, as opposed to a foreclosure. A full-blown foreclosure, if you're looking to buy another property, or if you have a government security clearance or something more sensitive, having actually a full-blown foreclosure on your credit report is a big no-no. The other thing is many of the homeowners that we do work with are qualified for some form of relocation assistance. Some lien holders call it a short sale incentive. The mortgage company will actually pay the homeowner up to about $3,000 to participate in a short sale, and that money is actually paid to the homeowner in a check at the time of settlement. The other thing is full deficiency waiver. When my closing negotiates a short sale, one of our most important things that we do when we negotiate with the mortgage company is we demand that the mortgage company releases the homeowner from any future liability for the balance owed. Because if you owe $200,000 and the short sale nets the bank $150,000, well, you have a deficiency balance of $50,000. Just imagine, the house goes to a sheriff's sale and you think it's all said and done. Okay, sheriff's sale's done. I'm done. The house is gone. Well, lo and behold, the bank all of a sudden sues you for the balance owed. How about that?
Does that actually happen?
So, I've heard that it has happened a couple times, but some of the homeowners that we spoke to that just absolutely threw their hands up in the air and said, you know what, the bank can just, forget about it. They can have the house back. I have not personally heard of any of our customers ever having that happen, but I work with a lot of short sale negotiators across the country. And indeed, it has happened where after the sheriff's sale, the bank has pursued the homeowner or the previous homeowner for a balance owed.
Jason,
Yeah.
doesn't the bank sometimes 1099 the borrower too? As far as I knew, as of last year, there was still something like a tax preparer could do for that person to get that waived.
Well, right, and I'll do my normal disclaimer when I talk to homeowners. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a CPA. I do have a college degree in finance, and I worked for a very large accounting firm for quite some time in Manhattan, but I'm not an accountant. Here's how it goes with the 1099. You had mentioned that don't banks, issue 1099s. The answer in the cases that I've been involved in, they almost always do. And the reason why is the bank needs a tool to write the balance off of their balance sheet. The bank needs to take that deficiency, and they have to do something with it. So what they do is they write it off of their balance sheet, and when they write it off their balance sheet, that automatically generates a 1099-C, which is a cancellation of debt, and that 1099-C is for the remaining balance that's owed or the deficiency, and that goes to the borrower. That 1099-C is what people in my industry, we call it ghost income, or we call it phantom income. It is absolutely classified as income on your 1040, on your tax return. However, the reason why we call it phantom or ghost income is because you never really got that money, per se. You didn't get a check for $50,000, but you got a 1099-C for it. There was the Mortgage Debt Forgiveness Act, which has been perpetually extended and extended and extended. Interestingly enough, a little tiny tidbit that nobody really knows, it was actually extended for the 2017 tax year. Little tip there, go ahead and Google that. It is not extended at this point right now. So, with that said, we do have an accounting firm that we work with, and it's not even a loophole. I hate when people call tax things loopholes, because they're not loopholes, they're laws. It's a law that's on the books that you can use for your advantage. They're not a loophole. A homeowner has the ability to claim insolvency. Now, insolvency is very simple. Add up all of your debt, add up all of your assets, and subtract. If you owe more than you have, you're insolvent. And you have the ability to claim insolvency on your tax return to offset any 1099-C that you have.
Let's say that one again.
I'm not the tax guy.
So,
I'm sorry, say that what?
Let's say that one again. If you're insolvent, right?
If you're insolvent, let's say that, between all of your debt, unsecured debt, car debt, any debt, school loan debt, add it all up. How much do you owe somebody? And if you add all of that information, add all that up, how much do you owe somebody? Then you have to add up all of your assets. What's my car worth? What's my 401k worth? What's my house worth, for that matter? I just did a short sale. What's my house worth, and how much did I owe in the home? Add all of that up and subtract. And sad but true, most of the homeowners that we work with, and my heart goes out to them, they are all insolvent. They all owe more than they have.
So is that something they do without doing a bankruptcy, or do they have to do a bankruptcy to be...
No, it has nothing to do with bankruptcy. This is all about IRS tax return. Yeah,
nice.
Bankruptcy has nothing to do with insolvency.
And that's just a law. Yeah. It's not a loophole. So if I'm insolvent,
no, it's not a loophole,
and I've got a 1099-C, which is phantom income, that 1099-C would in essence be washed away due to my insolvency.
Well, it could be. And within the walls of my closing, we have a saying: words matter. And we're very careful of how we say what we say, and we say that it could offset or minimize your tax liability, or it could wipe it away entirely. The real truth is, it depends on how insolvent you are. If your 1099 is for $50,000, but your insolvency is only for $30,000, you can wipe away potentially $30,000 of that tax obligation, but you may be exposed to that $20,000 that's remaining.
Well, every little bit helps.
Every little bit helps, you betcha. So we always encourage, when we have homeowners that are concerned about 1099-Cs and tax obligations, tax liability, we always explain that we do have CPAs that we work with on a routine basis. And if they really do want to have tax advice from a licensed CPA, which I'm not, we always encourage them to seek out professional tax advice, because I don't want to get stuck in a snafu where somebody said, well, Jason told me this. I want to make sure that they really hear it from somebody that has the license and the ability to say. But homeowners, when I talk to homeowners about 1099-Cs and insolvency, I always encourage them, don't listen to me because I'm a nobody. Don't listen to me, I'm just the short sale guy. Talk to an accountant or jump on Google. Google insolvency. Google the IRS form that you need to fill out to claim insolvency.
Well, there you go,
don't
folks.
take my word for it. Check out a professional on that one.
We just had one little tidbit of information, right?
There you go.
In the first 20 minutes, it could save you thousands of dollars.
Thousands of dollars.
So don't take our word for it, obviously. Quote unquote, talking to an accountant. Jason, we're going to pay a couple bills. We're going to take a commercial break. We'll be right back.
All right. Cool deal.
The Real Estate Radio Guys with John Rainville and Kingsley Harmer. We'll be right back.
Searching for a home online morning, noon, and night, looking at website after website, clicking contact me and nobody does? Missed homes that were sold before you knew they were for sale? The better choice is searchhomesinpa.com. Search if you want, or they'll do it for you. Contact by phone, email, or text to adjust your search or to tour a property. Start online. They'll call you back at searchhomesinpa.com or call toll free 855-919-HOME and they'll do it for you. Searchhomesinpa.com 855-919-4663.
Buying a home? Your good credit could equal 0 down. Schedule for a free consultation today at kingsley.today and get started on the path to homeownership. NMLS number 1018. Good credit should equal better mortgage rates. Schedule for a free rate quote at kingsley.today and get your lower rate. NMLS number 1810.
Listen for the Real Estate Radio Guys with everything you need to know about buying and selling real estate. Saturday mornings from 8 till 9 on Oldies 102.9 WHYL. Buying or selling a home? For professional home inspection, call EnviroQuest of Harrisburg. Their certified home inspectors will conduct a thorough inspection and provide a detailed report with many pictures. They'll explain the findings. Do you have elevated radon levels in your house? Call EnviroQuest. They have fixed over 10,000 homes over the last 25 years. For a professional home inspection or radon mitigation, call EnviroQuest at 233-6144, 233-6144, or visit EnviroQuest online at evqharrisburg.com. That's evqharrisburg.com.
Back to the show, the Real Estate Radio Guys with John Rainville and Kingsley Harmer.
So we're back with Jason Sanseverino with myclosing.com. And we're talking to him about, when is a good time to enlist his services. And obviously it sounds like most of your clients are referred to you from realtors.
Correct.
But for someone that is in that scenario,
or thinking they're in that scenario, what would the process be, Jason? When would they reach out to you, and what would they sort of expect?
Well, when we talk to homeowners, and realtors ask me the same question, when should we get my closing involved? If I had it my way, I would want to be involved the day that they know they're going to miss their first payment. That's really when I would want to be involved, because homeowners actually don't understand short sales. Imagine that. Homeowners don't really understand short sales. They don't understand the paperwork. They don't understand the lingo. We actually have homeowners that send documents to their lender, thinking that they're going to try to do a workout or a loan mod. And some of the documents they send to the lender actually hurts them. They send in bank statements, pay stubs, hardship letters, requests for mortgage assistance forms that actually can be counterproductive. So when it comes down to homeowners and establishing communication with them, I really want to talk to them when they know they're going to be delinquent, when they know that they're going to have to sell their property, and when they know that they're going to put their house on the market. We want to be involved ground floor.
Hey, and just so everybody out there understands, the bank does not have to accept a short sale. I mean, this isn't a foregone conclusion. Nope. So
no, they don't have to do it.
So Jason is here to write a book, if you will, or a storybook
Sure.
to present to the lender as far as, creating a case as to why it should be a short sale. Right. And it can be anything from making sure that the presented value is correct, to the reason why you're in a short sale. I mean, you could have lost a job for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and really put you on a financial spiral. But if you don't portray it as such, it obviously won't be looked at like that.
That's right.
You could be
That's
locked
right.
up in Frackville.
Yeah, you could be locked up.
You have to present it correctly, because and it's just like a good attorney. A good attorney on the defense, you have to present your defense correctly. And if your opening argument is flawed, well, your whole case is flawed from the beginning.
So the glove not fitting would probably not be a good defense in this scenario.
Probably not. Probably not. So when we talk to homeowners, we always have a homeowner interview. Homeowners want information. They're scared. Every homeowner that I've ever spoken to, they are scared to death. I mean, they're potentially losing their home. They raised their kid in the house. I mean, they are really freaked out. The first thing that we do is we kind of diffuse it. I explain to the homeowners that, listen, I've been through a divorce. I've been through a bankruptcy. I've been through a short sale. I've been in your shoes. I understand how you feel, so trust me, I'm compassionate. I get it. Once we establish mutual ground, we really talk about options, because my closing, when it comes down to short sales, yes, we negotiate short sales. That's really our bread and butter. But at the same time, we're more about options. You're stuck in this snafu. You just lost your job. What's going on? Give us the details. Because even though we earn income by negotiating short sales, if a homeowner can really stay in the house and there might be a possibility that a short sale is not in their best interest, we would honestly and ethically prefer to see what we can do to help them keep the house, if possible. The sad truth is, I would say a good 90% of the homeowners that we talk to can't keep their house. The other 10% really just need to file bankruptcy. So we really don't talk to homeowners that have the financial capacity to retain the home. Every homeowner that we talk to are really in dire straits, and they really just don't have much of an option but to do a short sale. But we do go through a very detailed conversation. It takes about 45 minutes, and we really talk to the homeowner about what to expect, what's coming next, because fear from the homeowner is really fear of the unknown. What's going on? What's going to happen? Is the sheriff going to lock my front door? And am I going to come home from work one day to see a note on my door saying that I got kicked out of my house? I mean, homeowners are just scared. So we really have a good conversation with them about what to expect, how the steps are going to happen, who's going to work on your transaction, so that they feel comfortable. And we do the same thing with the listing agent. Many of the agents that we work with, we've been working with for years, so they kind of know the drill. But when we have a new real estate agent that's new to my closing, we really have a very thorough conversation with them about how we work and how we operate.
And difference, I'm going to say, from a real estate broker side, with your company is one of the nice things is you guys do keep us on the realtor side very well updated. You and I talked about that the other day. I mean, I'm always thrilled when I see those, I get those emails, from you guys, because it's like, hey, wow, I know, because sometimes, the homeowner calls me before they call you, and lets us both be on top of the game. So I think you guys do a phenomenal job of keeping everybody in the loop. Sometimes with some of the negotiators, that's not the case.
Well, that's one of the things we're really proud about. We do have some proprietary software in place that is specifically geared to external communication. We want to keep the realtors informed, the buyer agent and listing agent. We want to keep the homeowner informed so that they're not all nervous Nelly. We always ask the buyer agent for the buyer's contact information, and if they choose to provide it, then we'll communicate with the buyer as well. Sometimes we just don't have the buyer's contact information. Many of the reasons why buyers walk in short sales is because they're not kept up to date. They don't know what's going on. And their buyer agent, and unfortunately many of the buyer agents that we do work with are very unfamiliar with short sales. They don't really know how they work. And the buyer's agents are unfortunately just as uninformed as the buyer, and the buyers walk. So my closing has put in place some really thorough communication tools to ensure that everybody knows what's going on and up-to-date information. So, and we find it's very successful.
Here's a very interesting topic when it comes to short sales. The actual sales price. And it's not as simple as putting it on the market for what you think it's worth. I mean, there's a process behind that.
Yeah. And it's it's a difficult process sometimes.
Well, it's kind of like a chess match, isn't it? I mean,
it could be.
Now, when it comes to what the bank's going to accept for them, it all comes down to their appraisal, correct?
Essentially, yes. It does. So
being prepared for that appraisal is another topic in and of itself. So
that is like a 5-hour workshop.
So, for example, I mean, let's try to simplify it for borrowers. I mean, especially for the realtors that are on here that are not fluent in short sales. I mean, it's not. This is why we get somebody like you involved ahead of time to prepare this whole process as far as what we think the property is going to be worth. For example, I'm in the middle of one now. If you were to just take a drive-by or a snapshot, you've got value X, Y, Z. But if you're in the property and notice that it hasn't been updated or has maybe foundation issues or the roof's leaking, you know, those sort of things, all of that has to be prepared, I mean, theoretically, before the bank sends out an appraiser, correct?
I would encourage it, absolutely. Because you said it correct, you know, what the bank is willing to take is going to either be the appraisal value or it's going to be loosely connected to the appraisal value. Depending on the type of loan the homeowner has, if it is a government-backed loan, now we're talking FHA, VA, USDA, all of those are specifically geared to the appraisal value, and the net proceed of the short sale transaction is going to reflect what the appraisal value is. So FHA, VA, and USDA, absolutely the appraisal value is what number you're going to have to hit. Now, when we're talking Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and other conventional loans that are not government-backed per se, they have a different valuation model, which actually is very complicated. I actually spoke to one of my Fannie Mae reps, and we were talking about the Fannie Mae valuation model, and they actually take about 130 points of data to concoct. I say concoct because it's like a little recipe that they have. They take a whole bunch of information to determine what they feel the value of the home is. So Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are very much different than FHA, USDA, and VA. Now, when we initiate the short sale request, the first thing that we do when we initiate the short sale request is we demand that one of the representatives at my closing is the single point of contact for the lender and also is the single point of contact for the appraiser or the BPO agent. We want to make sure that the appraiser or the BPO agent calls us first. That is for the purpose of controlling the valuation process. We want to make sure that when the appraiser is going out to the property, we want to make sure that they know that it's a short sale. Some appraisers go out to the property and they have no idea why they're going out there to do an appraisal. They're just going out there because Wells Fargo ordered an appraisal through ServiceLink, and we want to do an appraisal.
Jason, one of our Facebook listeners is just asking. They're saying, "Hey, look, they already can't make their payment. How on earth can they afford to hire you?"
Oh, well, we'll do a tangent. When it comes down to my closing and fees, we don't charge the seller anything. We don't charge any upfront fees. We do not charge the seller anything. We say out of pocket because when the settlement happens, there may be a fee or two on the settlement statement that the seller's really not paying out of pocket, but we don't charge sellers anything. And on top of that, we don't charge realtors.
So they're asking there's no fee for them to call you and get a free consultation. Is that it's free for a consultation with you?
Absolutely no cost at all.
Do the buyers get charged?
Yeah, the buyers, when we negotiate short sales, we do charge the buyers a small loss mitigation fee, which is 1.5% of the sale price of the home with a $2,500 minimum. However, here's the good thing, and buyers and buyers agents sometimes miss this. When my closing negotiates the short sale, we request that the buyer's transfer tax and the buyer's title insurance premium are included in the sale of the home. So that expense will either completely offset or eliminate the loss mitigation fee.
And I'm already buying a bargain. I'm already getting a deal on the home. It's a short sale. I'm getting it for less of what the other people. Well,
Sure.
most times. Kingsley's rolling his eyes at me. Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah. I don't know. I think, in this market, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, you're not necessarily going to get a house for $30,000 under what the market value is. I mean, you're already fighting with the bank to take less than what's owed on the place.
Right.
I mean, if it was a free and clear HUD home, I think you'd probably get a better bargain than a short sale. Because the banks today versus 5 years ago are really fighting for those pennies, aren't they?
Well, they are. Yeah, I say that the purse strings are getting tighter. The purse strings are absolutely getting tighter. And Chase actually just hired a whole bunch of new underwriters, and they're really, really nitpicky. But the thing is, it goes back down to your negotiating skills. It goes back down to your strategy. And I think Kingsley is the one that was talking about the valuation and the appraisal and the BPO. It all depends on how you fight that value. Because if Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac come back with some unrealistic value, you got to fight it. You got to duke it out with them. You got to do comps, contractor estimates, history of listings, buyer feedback. So I do see when there's a good fight to be fought, the buyer of short sales can absolutely get a good deal, absolutely, as long as you do it correctly.
So again, it's getting in the game early to prepare. Yeah. Your strategy, I guess, on before you present it to the bank. And
I'm sure getting Jason everything he needs when he asks you.
Right.
Don't
John,
dilly-dally.
That is so true.
Right.
If I need bank statements, get me bank statements. Don't give it to me 2 months later.
Right, because that can really delay the whole process. The faster they get you everything you ask. It can actually cancel out
the file.
Yeah.
Yeah, if the bank is asking me for bank statements and pay stubs from the homeowner and the homeowner doesn't provide them to me swiftly, the bank can close the file. They can say, you know what, Jason, we asked for bank statements. You never provided to me. We thought you weren't interested. We closed the file. So we have to reinitiate it all over again. Yeah, so cooperation and collaboration is definitely key.
So, I mean, here we go, folks. I mean, if you're in the situation, and we've gone through a few different scenarios.
Or even if you're not sure.
Or even if you're not sure. The bottom line is you got to know what the process is. And most people, like you said, are afraid of the process because they don't understand it. So call Jason. Jason
absolutely
obviously knows what he's doing. He's been in the business for a couple of years.
Yeah.
More than just a few.
You know what? He's got gray hair, dude.
Really?
Oh, stop it. So do you.
Now, was that?
Yeah, but I've had mine since I was like 30, dude.
I got mine when I got married. I don't know about you guys.
That's I think I have to start shaving because when I let my beard grow a little scruffy, I look like Santa Claus.
Nice. Well, see, that's where I think I see most of mine too. but I don't think it's gray. It's still blonde.
My hair's going white.
In the right light, it's still blonde.
In the right light, when the sun is just peeking the horizon, it looks blonde.
And you can't look in my face directly. You have to squint. It's still blonde.
Oh dear.
So, Jason, what's the best way? We have your information up on our site. We have you up on our Facebook site. It'll come up again right here after the show. What's the best way for people to contact you, whether they're a realtor that needs to know how to do a short sale with you guys, or a homeowner that's just not sure, that is confused?
Sure. Well, there's two simple ways to do it. If you prefer email, my email address is real easy. It's Jason, Jason, at myclosing.com. That's myclosing.com. And by the way, we're not a title company. And my office number, area code 717-975-3301.
So, Jason, we really appreciate your time today, and I encourage any realtors or homeowners, anyone that's got a question on it, reach out to Jason. I've just found him to be, he and My Closing just be an awesome company to deal with when you get in that situation. And, he'll be honest with you. He'll tell you if it doesn't make sense, Jason's going to tell you, folks, this doesn't make sense.
And listen, we really only touched on, the tip of the iceberg as far as, all of the different scenarios that you can run into, that you have to really know how to present or what not to present, for that matter, I guess.
Right.
So make sure it doesn't cost you anything. Get somebody to walk you through this process that's been through it once or twice, and your success rate will certainly go way up.
Absolutely.
Jason, we really do appreciate you coming on to the show.
Absolutely, guys. I appreciate it, too. Thank you so much.
Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend.
You, too. Happy Saturday.
So, I mean, this is a scary situation to be in, short sales. I mean, you obviously, if you're in this situation, you did not get there on purpose. I mean,
right.
Some sort of
tragedy.
9 times out of 10, some sort of catastrophic event caused you to be there. Lost a job, family member.
17th DUI from
Right.
Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're incarcerated, exactly. So, the last thing you're thinking about is your home and how to save possibly save your credit, possibly even save you thousands of dollars on your taxes.
But and even if you're going to lose the home, like Jason was saying, you may be able to get thousands of dollars there at the closing table.
Right.
That would help you at least get into.
And when you're in that situation, trust me, I mean, you're grasping at straws. Any little
$2,000 or $3,000 could be a big help.
Yeah. And knowing how to wade your way through the waters is definitely helpful. So call Jason Sanseverino at myclosing.com. I said it right.
Yeah. I'm telling you, F1 driver. He should be an F1 driver.
So I think we have our favorite home inspector on the line.
Good morning, John.
Morning.
How are you doing, buddy?
Hey, great. How are you doing?
Good. Are you local today, or are you in, like, California? Where are you at today?
Local, on the road, driving to soccer.
That's why I figured it had to be a
soccer
game coming up.
Yeah, it's warm weather now.
All right, that's nice. So I guess today we're going to be talking with you about electrical inspections.
Yeah, just wanted to go through what you can expect and sort of our strategy for doing electrical inspections at a home inspection. So, of course, we follow the standards of American Society of Home Inspectors, but just to go through just a brief walkthrough. So starting out, we get to the home, we're going to look at where the line access, is it a pole-mounted transformer, is it underground, where's that line run across the property? So we're looking at height and clearances to make sure that it has adequate clearance. So then once we get to the house, we look at the drip loop up where the electric company's line meets the household line, that connection there. We look at that connection. Of course, you don't have that if it's underground, in a conduit underground. Then we're going to examine the cable as it runs down the outside of the house. Once again, of course, you don't have that if it's underground. We look for, weather cable. How old is it? Are there good seals where there should be putty or some type of sealer? Where it goes into the house, is that sealed up good so critters don't get in? And once we get into the house, we're looking at the electric panel. We always try to take the cover off so we can see inside. That's important because one of the biggest, most frequent things that we find are water getting into the panel, from a bad cable outside, from, some sort of gap that should be sealed. So we look for signs of rust, signs of staining, corrosion inside the panel, which of course can be a fire hazard. So we look at that. Then once we get in the panel, we're looking at fusing the size of the wire. We want to make sure that the wires have the appropriate breaker. And for this type of inspection, it's interesting. We use all our senses. We listen for something such as sizzling, breaker going bad. Sometimes it'll make like a sizzling noise if there's a loose connection. We use heat guns to check the temperature. If we look to see, is there a breaker that's over 100 degrees? That can indicate a problem with the breaker if it's a high temperature. So we look at the type of panel. Certain types of panels are flagged. I'm sure you run into that, you guys, right? The Zinsco, the Federal Pacific.
I thought Federal Pacific was a good thing because I thought it was kind of like having an antique in my basement. And I even have several leftover breakers for my Federal Pacific box. So
spares?
Some spares. When they pop, I just pop another one in there. I mean, so you're telling me that's not a good box?
So what? You collect the breakers and sell them on eBay for a profit?
Exactly. For a while there, I think people were doing that.
Can't get them anymore.
So, John, on those Federal Pacific boxes, are those the ones that always have like the multicolored breaker switches, or do they also have just the all black ones?
The Federal Pacific, the model that has the problems is called Stab Lock, STABLOK. So it's Stab Lock, and they usually are black with an orange lettering on them.
Interesting.
The multicolored ones, the ones that are blue and white and red, that's Zinsco.
Well, I mean, if you've had a Federal Pacific box last this long, right? I mean, it has to be a decent box. I mean, you know, it's kind of like the law of averages. I mean, there's got to be that one that lasts forever.
What we tell people is, yeah, of course, logically, hey, it's been here for 30 or 40 years. There hasn't been any problem. So it actually is a very small chance of a fire. But do you want to hear, hey, you have a small chance of a fire, so you're okay. You don't want any chance of a fire in your house. So, yeah, it actually is a small chance of a fire, but that's not a chance that most people want to take. So we usually recommend, you know, in our inspection reports, we provide a link to the information on the Federal Pacific so you can look for yourself. And then if you want, you know, get an electrician, most electricians will agree, hey, these are, you know, it's not that the panels go bad. It has to do with the engineering. You know, the day they were built, there were problems. And the problems weren't adequately known until thousands and thousands of the panels were installed, and then they were starting to have problems with occasional fires. So these fires were being traced back, and many experts believe that, you know, these fires were caused by the engineering of the breaker type and the panel type, the metallurgy that was used, the engineering of how the breaker fits onto the bus bar. With the Federal Pacific, you can grab the breakers, and a lot of times they're real loose, and that's part of the problem. You know, they can cause arcing and subsequently a fire.
So theoretically, then, my avocado refrigerator on a Federal Pacific box is not a good combination.
Not a good combination. So those are some things that we routinely during a home inspection that we look for and that we'll point out to the buyer.
John, one of our listeners wants to know, okay, so they've seen that rust in their box, they said you know, about it coming in from the outside. So is that the electric company's problem, or is that the homeowner's problem?
Usually it would be the homeowner's problem because it has to do with, for the most part, beyond the drip loop. Now, the drip loop is what I talked about, where your outside cable from the electric company hooks on to your cable that runs down the side of your house. So that outside cable, the drip loop, and all the associated electrical work is the homeowner's responsibility for the most part. You know, there's certain exceptions. You know, you're in a condo or something like that, or association. So there are certain exceptions, but as a general rule, from the drip loop, you know, the outside of your house, that's all the homeowner responsibility.
So basically, right up to the meter is kind of like the cutoff.
Where the cutoff is usually, typically where the drip loop, where the electric company's connection makes the homeowner connection at what's called the drip loop. Okay,
interesting. All right, so let's move on from the electrical box. I mean, what else are you looking at? You've got heat guns. Do you check outlets, light switches? How do you test to see if maybe you've got a surge or maybe a little bit of overpowering? I mean, I know we went over into appliances, you know, just a couple of weeks ago.
He just opens up the door on your avocado refrigerator and sees if ever the light's dim.
Wow. It's still
sure.
cold.
So moving on, we go to the branch wiring. So we're looking for, you know, what's the age of the wiring? Because we research, you know, typically what type of wiring exists based on the age of the home. So we're looking, is it grounded or ungrounded? You know, 2-prong or 3-prong. Do you have ungrounded receptacles that are near water usage within 6 feet? You know, we'll call that out. We'll look for 3-prong receptacles that are ungrounded. We have a little tester we go through and check. Dimmer switches, you know, are they getting hot? You know, once again, tested with a heat gun. You know, a dimmer switch that's too hot can indicate a problem there. GFIs, we're testing to make sure they function, make sure that they trip. We have little testers that we plug it in, hit the button, and it'll test the GFI. We're looking at, like you mentioned, light switches. Do they switch the light on and off? With the receptacles and light switches, there's usually not enough time to test every single one. So the standard calls for testing a representative number, and to us that means try to test as many as we can get to. Of course, we're not going to move furniture to get to one, but that's why the standard calls for a representative number, because they realize you're not going to be able to get to all of them.
Interesting. So popping of light switches, like little flashes and stuff, probably wouldn't be a good thing.
Yeah, that's usually not a good thing. Makes a cool little pop, but it's not.
I wasn't sure if that was kind of like the indication that the light came on, like flash, lights on.
Yeah, hey, it makes a noise too.
So, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, any sizzling noise, flashes, never a good thing with electrical systems.
Yeah, and electrical is definitely not one of those things that I like to mess with. I mean, I go in with a screwdriver and I try to fix it, but, if I forget to turn the electric off, might not be a good thing.
Big Doug back here, he's an electrician. He used to work on the railroad locomotives and stuff. And he gets freaked out if I switch out a light switch without turning off the power. That's just excitement.
That explains a lot.
Electricians, they can tell if it's 220 or 110 by how it feels.
Yeah,
great.
You can.
Oh, that explains a lot. After all these years, now I know why. Well, if somebody's got a question on their electrical, obviously, try not to do it yourself and test it yourself.
And I put an article up on the Stay Block.
Very nice. What is the best number to call you on, John, to have somebody come out and check?
Sure. The best number is 717-233-6144.
All right. And as always, EBQ Harrisburg on Facebook and ebqharrisburg.com.
Yep. And his link's up on our page.
That's it.
All right, John, have a great weekend. Good luck in the soccer games.
Hey, thanks, guys.
And happy Cinco de Mayo.
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
So, that was interesting, too. So I did find an article here online, did post it up there on our Facebook page quick, about the Stay Block. And their recommendation on that in the article, I scanned it real quick, was don't even inspect it, just replace it.
That's probably a safe thing. I mean, I wouldn't be just replacing it without turning the electric off, but...
So you were asking earlier about the market time, and market time in March, because our data is always in arrears. Market time in March for the homes that sold, average time on the market, 50% of the homes sold in March were 46 to 60 days on the market. Okay, so you've got some that sell quick or selling within hours, but some are still out there. I figure a normal market time we usually consider to be about 120 days.
Yeah, well, we're not in normal market.
No, not right now.
That's why I would think in May, if you price it correctly, and that's part of having the right realtor,
right,
with the right experience in this market, and plus having the right systems.
Correct.
It goes a long way as far as your market share. And, the first thing I always tell any homeowner, say, hey, well, how much can you sell it for? Well, how long do you have? Your house is worth $300,000. Well, I could probably sell it for $400,000 if you're willing to wait about 6 or 8 years.
Yeah.
Because over time, your house is going to appreciate.
House is like bananas.
You can sell it for anything you want. It's just a matter of how long you want it to, sit on the market for. And then, of course, it's the art is having it priced correctly and maximizing how much you can get out of it. And there's an art to that.
There is.
And if you are even thinking about selling, obviously, as John stated, this is definitely the month to do it. There's a 5% premium to sell it in May. Historically, it seems
5.9% is what NAR just came out with that and said right now, this is the best month to sell your home.
So an extra $5,000 for every $100,000 your house is worth.
It's just logical because if you get your house on the market now and we get it sold before the end of the month because people want to have their kids in school before
And right now we're getting multiple bids. So yes,
yeah, absolutely,
it's certainly inducive of.
And so
raising
brokersrealty.com still offering our vacation packages with for buyers and sellers, and Kingsley's company is still offering free appraisals.
Yep, pagoloan.com. free pre-approvals.
And free pre-approvals, too.
Yeah,
so free,
along with...
Nothing to talk to you about it to find out if they can do something.
And look, we've got programs that have all kinds of grant programs. So even if you think you don't qualify, I mean, we have programs down to 500 credit scores. And if you don't quite fit into a mold, that's our job to tweak something or get you there.
You might be able to help them find where to get the money for their closing costs and down payment.
And you might not be ready today, but, if we make a couple